Welcome to a restorative yoga class. My name is Sarina, and I will be guiding through this practice. And so for a restorative practice, you're going to want to have some props available. And I wanted to make this practice accessible to everyone in their homes, just kind of using hopefully what we all have, because I know that not everyone has yoga props that would typically be at a studio in their homes. So for this specifically, just grabbing kind of like a handful of blankets, somewhere between like 2 to 4 blankets, and they can be any size, big or small, but just kind of having them gathered up. And then also grabbing a pillow, and it can be any sort of pillow, your bed pillow or a couch pillow. And then also having, if you have an extra yoga mat, using an extra yoga mat rolled up, or if you only have one yoga mat, you can also just use your yoga mat and practice this practice on the floor. Like, this practice does not have to be on your mat. So having a rolled yoga mat, a pillow, and a handful of blankets. Okay, and then setting yourself up somewhere that is safe and comfortable, maybe a little quieter. And it's always nice to practice restorative yoga with like dim lights, maybe close the shades, and just really set yourself up to feel comfortable and relaxed. Yeah. Okay. And so restorative yoga is the act of not doing or finding effortlessness throughout your body. So you're not looking, these poses, we're not looking to create a really intense stretch. And we're not looking to have the sense of trying to breathe our way through the poses, but rather just be able to really relax into the pose so that we can find comfortability in them. Sound good? Cool. Okay, so I would actually like for us to begin lying on our bellies. And so you can clear your space. Actually, time out. Before you come onto your belly, grab one of your blankets. And then just kind of have it folded. Depending on the size of your blanket, you want your blanket to be about the size of your shin or your calf. So when it's folded, making sure that it's like that length, if that makes sense. So like so. And then placing that on the right side of your mat. And then grabbing your pillow and just having that near the top of your mat so that you have it available. And we'll begin by coming onto your bellies. And you can stack your palms one on top of the other. If it's comfortable, you can rest your forehead on your palms. Otherwise, you can rest a cheek on your palms, and it doesn't matter which cheek. And begin by noticing your breath. Noticing how the breath travels through your body when you're lying on your belly. Does it travel a little bit differently? Where do you feel sensation as you inhale? What expands as you breathe in? And noticing if there is anything you can soften as you exhale. Maybe the abdomen, your thighs, your calves. Really just releasing all tension, all muscular effort, and letting your body soften. Starting to imagine your breath traveling up and down your spine. So as you inhale, envisioning the breath traveling down your vertebrae all the way to your tailbone. And as you exhale, imagine your breath traveling up your vertebrae, creating sort of this circle-like energy with your breath. Inhaling, the breath travels down. And exhale, the breath travels up. And really gently lift your head so that you're able to see me. And we're going to start with a half-legged frog pose. So what you'll do is bend into your right knee so that you're bringing your right knee in line with your right hip. And then you're looking to bring your ankle directly under your knee. So you're making about a 90-degree angle with your right leg. And then you can take that blanket that you have and place it underneath your knee. So you have a little bit of height and a little bit of comfort or support underneath the knee. And then you can grab your blanket and use that to rest your head on. And you can gaze any direction with the head. So you may like to keep your head facing to the right, the way that your knee is bent. But it also may feel okay for you to switch it, gazing to the left. In the first 30 seconds of any pose is really just fidgeting and finding your place of comfort, knowing that you'll be here for a while. And just knowing that if at any point you need to adjust the pose, adjust your props, you have permission to do that. Allow your inner thigh to relax. Let the weight of your leg be supported by the blanket, by the ground. Know that you are in a safe place to fully surrender. And in this stillness, if thoughts start to creep into the mind, which they most likely will, knowing that that's normal, that's okay. And just allowing those thoughts to drift in and out of the mind like clouds in a sky. Knowing that eventually your mind will exhaust itself of thoughts. And once that exhaustion of thoughts happens, all you'll have is the present moment. This space, this moment right here. start to feel your breath. Noticing where it travels through your body. Notice if there is space for your breath to deepen, even just slightly. And start to find a little bit of a wiggle in your toes, in your fingers. And very gently guide your palms underneath your shoulders. And we'll be taking this into a twist. So to come into this, you'll want to gently press your palms into the mat. So you're slightly starting to lift yourself up. And then your right hand, you're going to thread it through, or excuse me, I'm doing it the wrong way. Your left hand, you're going to thread it through to your right side. Good. And then you may want to slightly tuck your back toes and then lift your hip a little bit and kind of push it over to your right side. So you're kind of coming more onto your side than onto your belly. And then your right hand, you can either keep this twist closed, so stacking your palms here, or you can take your right hand and open this twist up, coming into an open version. And you can still use that blanket underneath your head, or that pillow underneath your head. And remember that you have lots of other blankets around you, so if you need support underneath your arm, if you're choosing to open that twist up, you can take a blanket and bring it underneath your right arm for a little more height. And taking those first 30 seconds to fidget, wiggle yourself around. Notice if there's anything that you could do to become a little bit more comfortable. And then as you start to find this place of stillness, taking a little body scan, noticing what you can soften. Your forehead, your jaw, your shoulders, glutes, trusting that the ground, your props, are here to hold you up. Knowing that you do not have to hold yourself up here. Permission to surrender. And to bring awareness back to your physical body. Notice where you're in contact with a prop versus the floor. Maybe notice the texture of a blanket or a pillow. Take a deep belly breath, feeling some expansion through your body. As you feel ready, find your way onto your back, coming out of the twist as gently as you're able to. And then taking a moment of pause on your back, noticing if there's any movement your body may be craving. Knees to chest, a little sway or rock. Maybe just a couple of deep breaths. And grab the blanket from the right side of your mat and just move it over your body so that you're bringing it to the other side of your mat. If you had any props supporting your right arm, if you opened that twist up, move those props over to the other side of your mat so that they're ready for that twist when we come into it. And then from here, rolling towards your right side, start to find your way back onto your belly. Again, coming into that as gently and slowly as you can. And pausing on the belly, palms stack, either resting your forehead or a cheek on your palms. And taking a few rounds of breath. And perhaps noticing the depth of your breath. Once again, maybe there's a little bit of space for it to be a little bit deeper than when we first started practice. Breathing all the way down your spine and back up the spine. And when you are ready, gently bending into your left knee, finding that half frog pose, coming into that 90-degree angle so that you're bringing your knee in line with your hip, and then your ankle in line with the knee, and grabbing for a blanket, sliding it underneath the knee. And then choosing which way you'd like to face with your head, maybe the same way as your leg, or perhaps switching the gaze to the other side, finding a little bit of a spinal twist. But knowing that it's your pose, so taking the version that feels best in your body. And taking those first 30 seconds to wiggle out or adjust your props. And then finding a deep inhale, filling up down the spine with breath. And then as you exhale, really letting that leg soften, melt into your blanket, into the floor. Relaxing your toes, the bottoms of your feet. Letting your chest melt down into the floor, into your props. Begin to feel your breath flowing in and out of your body. Notice its path, where it travels. Find a little wiggle of your fingers and toes, bringing some awareness to your physical body. As you feel ready, neutralize your neck, bringing your forehead to center and guiding your palms underneath your shoulders. And then taking this into that twist, very gently pressing yourself up. And then this time taking your right hand and reaching it through to your left side. And then you may tuck your back toes and just slightly lift and shift your hips so that you're coming more to your right hip rather than on your belly. Sort of inch that shoulder underneath. You can choose to keep this twist closed resting your palms or your hands one on top of the other. Or you may also open the twist by taking your left hand and reaching it open. And you may place props underneath your right hand or your right arm, giving that arm a little bit more height so that you're not feeling a super big strain through your chest. And know that if you chose to open here, you can always come back to that closed position if it becomes intense at any time. And taking your time to adjust, wiggle as needed, anytime throughout the duration of the pose. As you find stillness in your body, feeling your breath move through your body. Remembering that there's no need to alter or change your breath. Letting it flow at a natural pace. Using the breath as a tool to keep you in the present moment. Allow your thoughts to wander. Always come back to that steadiness of your breath. shift some awareness back to your physical body. Feeling the support beneath you. Noticing textures. Noticing sounds coming from the room. Breathe fully into your belly. Taking it gently and slowly, transition onto lying onto your back. Slightly rolling yourself on your back, taking any position there, neutralizing your spine. Noticing if there's any counter movements that your body may be craving. Maybe a few deep breaths, sighing out the mouth can sometimes feel really good after being in a still pose. Just knowing that these transitions, these times between poses are just as important as the poses themselves. These transitions allow for the benefits of the pose to settle into the body. Giving the body space to recenter. In your next 2 to 3 breaths, from here, gently rolling over to either side of your mat, and then very slowly pressing yourself up to a seat. Knowing that there's no hurry to get there. So this next pose is going to be a supported back bend, and this is where your yoga mat will come in handy. And so you want it to be rolled up pretty small and pretty tight. If it's rolled really loosely, that it has a lot more give, so you want to roll it fairly tight. And then the mat, your yoga mat, can come, if you're using a mat, it will come about the topish half of your mat. So the yoga mat, this mat that we're going to lie over, is going to support about your mid-back, so below your shoulder blades. If you don't have a yoga mat, you can totally roll up blankets. Like that would work just as well. And then if you have a pillow at the top of your mat, you may want to use that. And you can lean back over your mat or your prop. If that's really intense for you, you can come onto this from a side position. So you come resting on your side and then roll yourself over your mat. And again, taking those first moments to adjust. Finding a comfortable place for your prop to come to your back. And now you can choose. You can extend your legs long. If that feels really intense, you're welcome to keep your knees bent so that the bottoms of your feet stay planted. And then take a little assessment. Notice how your head and your shoulders are feeling. You may want to use a pillow or a couple of blankets underneath your shoulders and your head so that you're not feeling all of your weight dumping down into your head. Options for your arms, you can extend them long or out like a capital T. You can also keep your elbows bent and place your palms over your ribs if you'd like to feel your breath flowing through the body. Again, always knowing that you're welcome to fidget, you're welcome to adjust as we rest in the pose. Knowing that what is comfortable may shift or change. And this being the first position on our backs. So feeling how your breath is a little bit different here. Rather than feeling it through the back side of your body, you're now able to feel it flow through the front side of your body. Moving down your throat, into your heart, filling up your lungs, all the way into your belly, your diaphragm. Allow your mind to stay concentrated on the flow of breath. Bring the awareness back to your breathing, back into your body. Find a little movement in your fingers and your toes. And as you feel ready, gently roll over to either side and press yourself into a seated position. Coming off of your prop. And then as you come into your seat, taking a moment to notice how you're feeling physically. Noticing if there's any movement your body is seeking. Giving yourself space to take that. And from here, we'll be coming into our shavasana pose. And so you're welcome to use that rolled mat underneath your knees. If you don't want to use a rolled mat, you can also use blankets and sort of prop it underneath your knees. Just feels good. And then feel free to put a pillow or a blanket underneath your head. Coming into shavasana. Final resting pose. So taking a moment to just really set yourself up for rest. Get out any wiggles, any jiggles. And giving yourself permission here to take up space. Know that it's okay to be a little bit wider than you typically are. And the ultimate pose of letting go. Softening your forehead. Imagine as if your eyelids were little blankets covering your eyes, sealing them shut. Relax your jaw, your tongue. And give yourself this space to simply be. Know that there is nowhere else you have to be. Nothing else you should be doing. Please begin to deepen your breath. Find a few full belly breaths. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Sway your head gently side to side. In your own time, gently rolling over to either side of your mat, resting your head on the inside of your arm. And pausing here for a moment of gratitude. Thanking yourself for taking this time to rest. And extending that gratitude out. Grateful for someone in your life. And gently press yourself to a seated position on your mat. And as you arrive to a seat, bringing your hands to your heart center. Thank you so much for choosing to rest. From my heart to each of yours, namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.